Hey, this is Tom from Inspiration Metalworks. Just a quick update to get everyone caught up on what's been going on in the shop. We actually took some time to reconfigure things and get the place fixed up a little bit. We're still in the middle of that process, so things have been a little slow. But I wanted to give everybody a little update and show you what's been going on. So one of the things that we did recently is we went ahead and we moved some of the equipment around. We got the lathe moved off that tall table in the back and put onto a dedicated bench over on the side. It's also a lot lower now, so we're not reaching up over everything and trying to do things. And we've also got a new mill, well, new to me mill. So we got this one. It's a 1998 model Rongfu RF40. And it's been sitting in this guy's shop for 6 or 7 years, just sitting there. They haven't been using it at all. When they did use it, it was used as a glorified drill press and a hole cutting saw. So yeah, it needs some work, but let's take a look at it. Alright, so a few of you may remember a little while back, a few months back, I did some upgrades to my old mill, which is just a little benchtop mill, and little Harbor Freight model benchtop mill, and it was doing okay, but yeah, that's fine for aluminum and for plastics and things like that. But trying to work on the steel, I was really struggling with it. It wasn't quite handling the job, and so when I had the opportunity to upgrade to this guy here, I jumped on it. That being said, it definitely needs some work. This is what's nice about it, and in looking at it, as I started cleaning a little bit, I can see all of the ways. You can still see the frosting on the ways. I mean, it wasn't used for anything. It was basically a drill press, right? So, you know, we've got some work to do on that, but it's, you know, what's nice about this is it hasn't really been used. So even though it's from 1998, I mean, it's practically brand new. The first thing that I'm going to do is do a full service on it. It's got, I've been taking in here and cleaning out the T-slots just so I can pull this vise off of it and make sure I can get everything out of there. I don't know the last time any of the thing was serviced. The oil, I don't know if the oil has ever been changed, the gear oil in here. This is an interesting model. People either love or hate this thing because it's got the round columns so you can pivot the head. It also has a tilting head so you can rotate it. And actually, I'll have to do that in order to drain the oil out of it. You turn it 90 degrees, you know, on a 90 and pour the oil out. It's got a drain plug on the side here, and then you put it upright again and refill it with the oil. So please, along the way, I'm looking for comments on here, constructive comments on this mill. It's an RF40. There's lots of clones out there. But this is an actual RF40. So if people have experience with it, and actually I think, gosh, you know, in retrospect, I think Colin, I think maybe you just upgraded from one of these to a more like a Bridgeport clone. So I'd love some feedback. What's your experience been with it? Me personally, I'm giddy to have this thing. It needs good cleaning though. It needs oiling. You know, my old South Bend is from 1937. I think it was in pieces when I got it, and I restored the whole thing and I use it regularly. It's great. This thing is in a lot better starting condition, so I'm hoping that just a general service, get it apart, clean it, oil it, get the ways set again, and hopefully everything should be okay. Get it all trammed up. It will be a little be interesting to get this thing trammed, but I suppose it's just 2 bolts and make sure that it's, you know, it's perpendicular to the table. So that's where we are right now. I did order one of the things. So this is 3-phase. It's got a 1 horsepower motor, 220 3-phase with the R8 spindle. So I can use the same R8 tooling that I had for my other mini mill. But it also lets me expand a bit on what I can run comfortably in this. But it is 3-phase, and I'm having to convert to a single phase. I looked at just doing a static phase converter, but in speaking with the guy who actually did this, who made the trade with me, He actually does programming of PLCs and controllers of that nature. And he pointed me at a pretty inexpensive, it's a Westinghouse unit made in Texas, but it's a VFD for it, so I ordered that today. So once that gets in, I'll be able to get it wired up, because right now, all I have is a wire, 4 wires here for the 3-phase. So not doing anything with this thing quite yet, which is perfect time to get it cleaned up and get it all leveled and make sure everything's moving right. Things that I've noticed, trying to move the table, it's a little stiff. It works, but it is stiff. And I suspect it's because it just wasn't used. You know, I look at the ways, and they're a little gummy, right? You know, to the touch. When I touch the dovetails, they're fairly dry, right? So I'm guessing it just needs good cleaning and oiling. Same thing. So the Y, the X, a little better. You can also see I need to get this stabilized. I don't know if I'm just going to put it up on feet, leveling feet for it, or if I'm actually going to drill in to the concrete and mount it. But that's where we are with the mill right now. You can hear my daughter in the background singing. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. I'll probably edit all that out anyways. But yeah, so that's where we are right now with the mill. Alright, so looking at the mill, I just want to give you guys a bit more information about it, or let you guys see the mill a little bit. You can see I've been kind of cleaning up a little bit, but I got a lot of work to do. The vise, I told you they were using the hole saw. Basically, they were just using this as a drill saw, or a drill press. So somebody had a hole cutter and went right into the vise. But it's a decent sized vise. You can pull the jaws off. They can be mounted on the outsides, so it gives you a bit of extra length there if you needed to use it. But yeah, it's had a lot. It did have some use, but it's definitely a bit dirty, and so needs some cleaning. We'll get in there. We'll get all this stuff cleaned up. You guys can see in there. What I did notice, I think. I don't know if I can even get to it right now. As I was moving the table back and forth earlier, I noticed the ways. You can still see the frosting on the ways. I don't know if you can see it on that side. Let me grab something to clean this up. But you know, it's hardly been used at all. So we'll see how this goes. We got our model number, manufacturing date, looks like 1998, October 98 maybe, if that's how they did that, 199810. So we should get a lot of use out of this thing. Definitely a lot better than the old one. Give you a little bit more on the changes I've made to the shop. Another thing that I could definitely use some feedback on is storing material. I mean, these things, I just got to kind of shove it in here wherever I can fit the stuff, and I could definitely use a better way to store the material. We're getting a little shop tour as we go along. So this is the table that I had the lathe on, and I've moved some of the grinding equipment over to that section there. I will run my air lines back over towards the lathe. Got my daughter's workbench over there, kind of tucked away. Things are still a mess right now. Sorry. Got the plasma cam. You see, we got the CNC table here. My welding table, drill press on there. It's definitely not usable right now, so I've got to get that fixed up. And then somewhere over here, yeah, you guys can see that is the old mill, and so I will likely be converting that to a CNC setup in the near future. So, but thank you guys. I appreciate your time and watching it, and all the help that everyone's given me. Thank you. Okay, so another thing that I've been working on with all this is kind of reconfiguring the shop in general. The shop has kind of grown over time and had a mind of its own, right? I got the lathe, I got an air compressor, I upgraded the air compressor, I got the mill, I got the CNC plasma system, you know, all these things. There's been no rhyme or reason to it other than, hey, I saved up enough money for this new toy to get going. And so I'm trying to actually get a good layout here. And one of the things that I did with all this, and I'm kind of taking cues from other shops that I've seen now, is rather than putting everything, I had a habit of putting everything either linearly, you know, squared, perpendicular to one another, and I'm starting to actually take advantage of the space a little better, I think, in that, like, with the lathe, even though there's a part of me that's driving me nuts that the lathe isn't, you know, parallel to the wall, by having it canted a bit, it actually means if I had something long that goes out the door, the back door, which I don't think you can see from that angle, it would go out the back door. I may do the same thing with the middle. I may cant it a little bit just so that I get a bit better use of the space. Please, feedback. Would love some feedback here. If you've got ideas on how to better use some of this space, please let me know. I'm definitely space constrained, but this is probably the best layout I've had yet as far as having actual usable space. I do have a bit more to do as far as getting things set up. The drill press is still sitting on my welding table. I've still got a bunch of tooling laying around. I've got a lot more work to do to get the shop going again, fully operationally. I'll probably end up making a stand for the drill press, and then I have to figure out a space for it. So please, constructive comments, really appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys do. Thank you to all my new followers. I've gained quite a few followers over the past few months. Just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for everyone who has been leaving me comments. It's helpful, it really is. I am proud to be a part of this community, and it's amazing to me how thoughtful people really can be, and how helpful everyone is in just sharing what they do and what they love. So thank you guys. With that, I think I'm going to call it a day. Take care.